how I describe this is, and it's very hard for the logical mind to understand, but I say, is a feeling of being everywhere all at once.
But that's almost being God, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what it felt like, 100%. It felt like I felt like I was in that God consciousness, and it literally felt like I was everywhere all at once, and I could stretch and expand that consciousness if something I wanted to check out further. But it literally felt like that allness, and I'm talking our universe, I'm talking other universes. Now, I also up there got to see, and this is funny because there's diagrams that actually contradict what I'm about to say. But I got this sight, vision, even though I didn't have eyes on the other side, right? But it's a very physical, energetic sense, like having an energetic, huge body container that you could stretch. If you've ever seen one of those, remember Stretch Armstrong dolls that you could just stretch in every, or a Gumby, right? It felt like that. It felt super physical and stretchy. So, anyways, what I saw up there was how light informs sound, informs sacred geometry, informs physical matter. So, a lot of the diagrams that are out in the spiritual space actually say sound informs it first. And that was not my experience, actually. And I'm willing to have it wrong. And so it's fine. But that's how I saw it. So I got to see kind of how the universe is put together at that subatomic particle, light particle, photon particle level. And it was funny when I came back into the body, I remember having the feeling of like, oh God, let me keep the math. I want to keep the math because I understood the math and I could see, feel, sense how it all worked. And I remember just wanting to keep that because by the way, I was terrible at math. I actually dropped out of school when I was 15. So I'm a smart person. School wasn't for me, but math was never my subject. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, please let me keep the math. So, but back to the other side, it felt like ages. It felt like such a long time. Now, here's the other piece. So here I am. I'm God consciousness. I'm everywhere all at once. I'm seeing all that the universe has to offer. And then I got sidetracked. Okay. I saw this place that looked very much like Earth. And I thought, I should go check that out. I was really interested. So I dove all of my consciousness down into this place. And it looked just like Earth. It looked just like what we have here, except everything was sort of olive green. The sky was olive green. Everything had this olive green tinge over it. And the first person who I went to check out was my very first boyfriend. And I could see the condo that he lived in, and I could see how it had plants and everything. And he was outside smoking, blah, blah, blah. And I felt very comforted. I felt very soothed. And I realized I was not in my Alyssa body, but I had my sense of Alyssa back. Because when I was up in God consciousness, there really wasn't a sense of Alyssa. It was a huger, broader consciousness. So now I'm back on a similar looking planet to planet Earth. I can't talk to anybody, but I can hang around people and I kind of draw on their energy, and it feels refreshing and it feels restoring and it feels healing. And I didn't find out till years later what this actually was. I was reading a book by Savannah Arienta called Frequency, and she described where I was at to a T. She calls it the astral plane. It's where spirits go that died from traumatic event, suicide, or drug overdose. And when I was in this plane, at one point, a group consciousness came to me and said, hey, you can stay here as long as you want. It's going to be a very healing place for you. But if you go back, you have to come back now. If you want to keep the Alyssa body, you have to come back now. And we'll tell you that it's going to be a very hard journey. It'll be the hardest work you've ever done, but it'll be worth it. And instantly I thought yes. And then that is when I woke up. And it was literally like someone dropped me off of 1,000-foot building and just slammed my body into concrete. It was such a vibrational dissonance and hard to get back into the body. It felt like a thud. It felt like I weighed 1,000 pounds, and it was really intense. I woke up, I'm gasping for breathing air, right? Because they had just on the other side, they had just injected me with Narcan, and they just blocked all of my drug receptors. So I'm having a big wake up.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many questions I have, and it's such an amazing NDE, I find. It's a bit different than a lot of people have. It's not a tunnel. It seems like you didn't have a life review either.
No, I didn't have a life review, and I tend to wonder if either wasn't there yet, in the process,
Okay,
or
right.
right? I wonder if I wasn't there yet in the process, because I tend to think if you die of a major trauma or of a drug overdose, especially, there's a part of your consciousness that's drugged, right? When you go. And so I tend to think that affects the other side, right? I tend to think that the consciousness you hold here affects where you go there. And so that's why I think I went to the astral plane, and I would likely have been one of those stuck souls that go to the astral plane and just kind of hang out there until they move onward.
Right, let's address that one first, because I found it interesting that you said that, and a bit scary because, I don't know how I'm going to die. If I get a brick in my head, then it's over. So
Mhm.
then I don't have time to think. If something horrible happens, then I might have a lot of fear right before I die. And I mean, I'm not really in control of that. And I'm speaking generally, we're not really in control of that. So it seems like a bit unfair that then we're going to have a difficult or transition.
Well, I would argue that you are more in control of it. So I would argue that your consciousness now is one that's powerful enough that if something did happen that was traumatic, that you would bring forward your now consciousness,
All right.
right? What I think is that people who are not conscious at all, in
Mm.
terms of, they're walking around in a body, but they are not really in tune with their spiritual self, right? Because you're very in tune with your spiritual self. And I was not at the time. I had no attunement to myself as a spirit. Yes, I believed in something, but I was completely checked out of any spiritual practice. I was checked out of even thinking of myself as a spiritual person. I was totally ego. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that if you are doing the work, if you are, doing the work to be your in tune spiritual self, I think that actually transcends with you. But I think if you're not doing the work, I think it is those folks that get stuck. I think it is, because the universe, what my experience was, the universe is a very smart machine. Like, you don't really want something with not a lot of consciousness moving on to a stage where it can wreak a lot of havoc, right? It's one of the big things that we're here on planet Earth to figure out. We're here to learn how to have love. The universe is a love machine. And so we're here to, as a soul, be sure that we know how to lead with love. We're here to learn how to create. And here on the earth plane, there's a long time delay between what we're manifesting or creating versus how it comes in. And in fact, that time delay has been speeding up for people. So we speak the words and then it happens faster and faster. But we're here to learn that lesson, because on the other side, there's no time delay, right? You can have a thought and it happens instantaneously. Just like I had that thought of, yes, I do want to go back. And bam, instantaneously, I was back in my body. So if we can remember that our consciousness that we have here informs the other side, and on the other side, there's so many more destinations to go to. But to go to those destinations, you have to graduate third grade. And that's what I believe Earth is. We're in third grade here. It's not a very high grade that we're in.
Okay.
No offense to all us humans, I'm here too.
How
But
many
we're
grades are there?
infinite. There's infinite grades. And so the thing that I think is really important to remember is we're learning base ideas here. We're learning how to be loving. We're here to learn how to not be service to self, right? We're here to learn how to be in service. We're here to learn how to work with matter and energy. And most people don't know, they don't know how to work with matter and energy. They're still thinking, their identity is their physical body. They're thinking not much happens that they can control in life, that they can't really work with their circumstances. And I really believe that that's one of the big things that we're learning to do, is that yes, we do have infinite possibilities down here. No, it doesn't have to be as hard as it might seem. You can make different choices, but it does require people to be super conscious.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.